Now, Italian Formula One cars have arrived in Australia, and there is no chance of the opening Grand Prix of the season being cancelled, postponed, or being held behind closed doors, despite fears over coronavirus. CEO of the Australian Grand Prix, Andrew Westacott, said on Monday the race will proceed as planned. After it was announced the Bahrain Grand Prix on March 22nd will be run without spectators. Now, for more, we are joined by CGTN's Greg Navarro, who's standing by in Sydney. Hi, Greg. Thanks for joining us. First of all, I think a lot of people might find this situation a little bit strange, a bit weird, given the precautions that some countries have taken when it comes to protecting themselves against the virus, especially, you know, when it comes to sporting events. So why have Australia done this? What are we going to take from this decision by the Grand Prix being held in Melbourne?
Well, Mike, yesterday the announcement was made that this event, as you mentioned, would go ahead, not only go ahead, but with spectators as well. At the time, health officials were there. They addressed concerns that the coronavirus might have in any kind of event where you've got a large number of people. The chief's medical officer was saying that this event, which attracts, we should tell you, about 300,000 people, poses no public risk. Also, the Minister for Health echoed that sentiment, and this part's interesting, and this is probably why this event is continuing as it is, saying there have been no reported cases of community transmission in the state of Victoria, where Melbourne is, Albert Park in particular, and that is the reasoning behind letting this event go on as scheduled. In fact, they're saying at this point they see no need to cancel any kind of sporting event, any kind of mass gatherings as a result of no community transmissions.
But there are still teams who are going to be in Melbourne who are from Italy. So what measures are in place when it comes to those guys?
Well, it's something that health officials addressed, Mike. They talked about the teams from Italy being very carefully screened on their way into Australia. You may remember last week the government, including Prime Minister Scott Morrison, announced stricter screening measures, enhanced screening measures from anybody coming from Italy to Australia. If they did not meet those measures, those parameters, they would not be allowed into the country. We do know that some of Ferrari's team members, as well as equipment, is on its way and actually here in Australia at the moment, so those checks are continuing. We should remind you, though, Friday practice begins on Sunday, the main event here. Mike?
Thanks very much, Greg. That's CGTN's Greg Navarro live in Sydney.